Why light and darkness both recognize the chosen. There's a sacred mystery you were never told. You've probably heard of the chosen ones, those rare souls who carry a divine mission, a spiritual fire that never quite goes out. But what the world doesn't tell you is this: the truly chosen are not only recognized by God, they are also respected, even feared by demons. Why? Because they carry something ancient, something coded in their soul that neither heaven nor hell can ignore. This video is not just about angels and demons, light and dark, it's about you. Because if you're watching this, you were meant to hear what comes next. There are 7 types of chosen ones in this world, and if you are one of them, your life will never be normal. You weren't born for comfort. You were born for collision with the divine, with darkness, and with your own destiny. Let's begin with the first type, the shadow bearer. This is the chosen one who has walked through hell not once, not twice, but repeatedly. They were born into dysfunction, into trauma, into chaos so thick it would have broken most. But it didn't break them, it forged them. You see, the shadow bearer is chosen not because of their purity, but because of their ability to transform darkness into wisdom. God accepts them because of their resilience. Demons respect them because they survived the abyss. These are the ones who carry the codes of healing not from theory, but from lived experience. They are often misunderstood, misjudged, and underestimated. But they are the ones you call when the battle gets real, because they've already fought it in silence. The second type is the seer. These are the chosen ones who can see beyond the veil. Not just visions or psychic flashes, but deep, symbolic insight. They carry a spiritual intelligence that often alienates them from the world. They sense things before they happen. They dream in archetypes. They decode reality like a living manuscript. God whispers to them in symbols. Demons fear their clarity, because a seer can spot deception instantly. But the burden of the seer is solitude. Many walk through life wondering why others can't see what's so obvious. Their gift is often dismissed as madness, but in truth, they are maps in human form. They navigate spiritual terrains others don't even know exist. And when they speak, even the unseen listens. Then comes the frequency holder. These chosen ones don't preach, they radiate. You feel them when they walk in the room. They don't need to say a word. Their energy speaks louder than sermons. They are the embodiment of peace in chaos, calm in the storm. God uses them as anchors in spiritual warfare. Demons don't attack them, they orbit them, trying to pull them into drama, because they know that if they can distort a frequency holder, they can distort everything around them. These individuals often feel emotionally sensitive, empathic to a fault. But their true power lies in their ability to hold a vibration so pure that it begins to cleanse the energies around them. They are walking temples, and they often suffer quietly, because holding that frequency in a world built on noise is exhausting. But still, they never drop it. The fourth type is the disruptor. This one is born to break systems. They are loud, unapologetic, often hated before they are understood. They challenge religious norms, political ideologies, and generational narratives. God chooses them to initiate change. Demons try to tempt them with ego because their influence is dangerous. The disruptor will never have a quiet life. Their presence alone stirs the spiritual pot. They shake the foundation so something divine can be rebuilt. But here's the twist. They are often rejected by the very people they're sent to liberate. Their lessons are sharp. Their path is lonely, but they are necessary. Every spiritual revolution began with a disruptor. They are the thunder before the rain. Now consider the alchemist. These chosen ones are masters of transmutation. They turn pain into art, grief into gold, rejection into revelation. Their lives are often filled with intense emotional experiences, not because they are cursed, but because they are here to alchemize. God trusts them with sacred pain. Demons can't predict them because they don't react, they transform. The alchemist doesn't just survive trauma, they use it as a portal to deeper truth. Their energy is magnetic because it's real, raw, refined through fire. They are often drawn to mysticism, ancient teachings, and the occult, not out of rebellion, but because they are decoding hidden wisdom. They don't seek light or dark. They seek truth, and that's what makes them dangerous to both sides. Then we have the bridge walker. This one lives in paradox. They walk between worlds, spiritual and material, sacred and profane, divine and demonic. They are mediators of frequency. They understand both sides because they've lived both sides. God chooses them to unify. Demons respect them because they don't judge, they understand. Bridge walkers are often misunderstood by other spiritual people. Too grounded for the mystics, too mystical for the grounded. They are the ones who can speak to monks and CEOs in the same breath. They are the translators of spirit, the connectors, the ones who hold space for reconciliation on a soul level. But their gift often comes with a price, identity crisis. They ask themselves, where do I belong? The answer is everywhere and nowhere. And finally, the Oracle of Fire. These are the rarest of the chosen ones. They don't just speak truth, they ignite it. Their words carry codes. Their presence initiates awakenings. They often go through radical ego deaths because their voice is not meant to be theirs. It's meant to be a vessel. God speaks through them in fire. Demons target them relentlessly because they are activators. They don't just teach, they awaken. Their energy is intense, sometimes too intense. They walk into people's lives and everything starts to unravel, not because they bring chaos, but because they illuminate what is false. They are catalysts of destiny, and they often suffer deeply because the fire they carry burns them too. But they keep going, because their mission is not comfort, it's combustion. They are here to set the world on fire with truth. So I ask you now, which one are you? Shadow bearer, seer, frequency holder, disruptor, alchemist, bridge walker, oracle of fire? Or are you a blend of many? Deep down, you already know. You've known since you were a child. You felt the weight, teache, the fire, the isolation, the knowing. You've always been different. And now you know why. You were born not just to be chosen by God, but to be recognized by darkness too. Because both sides know you're not here to play small. The trials of the marked, why the chosen suffer before they awaken power. If you are truly chosen, marked by the divine and known by the darkness, then your life has never been easy, and it was never meant to be. This is the second truth most people run from. Every chosen one must suffer before they awaken. Not because God is punishing them, not because the universe is cruel, but because suffering is the crucible that reveals the soul's architecture. You can't fake your way through fire. The pain strips you of illusion, of ego, of everything you thought you needed until only the truth remains. And what is that truth? that you are far more powerful than you ever imagined. But that power must be earned through experience, not inherited through belief. You don't get to carry that kind of light without first walking through the kind of dark that would break most people. The suffering of the chosen is different. It's not just random misfortune. It's targeted, precise, almost surgical in how it finds your weak spots. Have you noticed that? That life seems to know exactly where to hit you? The abandonment wound, the betrayal, the isolation, the shame. It's almost as if your pain has intelligence, and it does. Because your soul came here with a blueprint, and that blueprint includes every trial you would need to awaken the exact frequency you were meant to carry. Shadow bearers are broken early so they can learn to rebuild others. Seers are gaslit by the world to strengthen their inner clarity. Disruptors are silenced so they can learn to roar. This isn't punishment, it's programming. But here's the paradox. The more chosen you are, the deeper your suffering, and the more invisible it becomes to others. You learn to smile through the storm. You learn to lead while bleeding. People don't see the nights you wanted to give up. They don't see the weight you carry in silence. They only see your light, not the darkness that forged it. That's the burden of the marked. You become a lighthouse for others, but no one sees the storm inside your own soul. And yet, this is what makes you holy. Not your perfection, not your knowledge, but your willingness to keep walking, even when the path disappears beneath your feet. That's the kind of courage demons fear more than any prayer. You may wonder, why would both God and demons acknowledge the chosen? Because both forces recognize power. And power is neutral until it's directed. You have the potential to build or destroy, to enlighten or corrupt. That's why your choices matter more than anyone else's. When a regular person falls, it's a stumble. When a chosen one falls, it sends shockwaves. You've likely felt this pressure before, the sense that your life is watched, weighed, tested. That's not paranoia. That's spiritual responsibility. The higher your calling, the heavier your consequences. And that's why your suffering is not just personal, it's spiritual training. You're not just enduring pain. You're being shaped into a weapon of light. One of the most misunderstood aspects of the chosen path is that it often begins in contradiction. You feel called to greatness but stuck in mediocrity. You feel destined for love but experience betrayal. You feel connected to God but haunted by darkness. Why? Because duality is the forge. The soul expands not through comfort, but through contrast. You must taste what you are not in order to embody what you are. You must experience abandonment to understand divine union. You must walk through lies to recognize truth. And you must face your own darkness if you ever hope to carry light that doesn't distort. That's the hidden wisdom of pain. It reveals what is true by burning away what is false. So many of us want the crown of the chosen without the cross. We want the gifts without the grief, but it doesn't work that way. Every gift you carry was paid for in suffering. Your compassion came from heartbreak. Your strength came from being shattered. Your intuition came from being deceived. Your wisdom came from walking alone. You didn't just wake up powerful, you were initiated. Through loss, through silence, through nights where the only voice you heard was your own soul whispering, "Keep going." And you did. That's why you're still here. That's why you're still rising. Because there is something inside you know darkness has been able to kill. And that something is exactly what makes you chosen. So let me ask you a question that only your soul can answer. What if your suffering wasn't a detour from your destiny? but the exact path that would lead you to it. What if every betrayal was a test of your loyalty to yourself? What if every failure was a redirect to deeper truth? What if the pain you've carried wasn't punishment, but prophecy? Something only a chosen one could survive. Something only a chosen one could use. Imagine how your life would change if you stopped seeing your wounds as weaknesses and started seeing them as weapons. Because that's exactly what they are. And the moment you realize this, you stop asking why me and start declaring, try me. When the chosen rise, how to step into power without losing your soul. The most dangerous moment for any chosen one is not when they are in pain, it's when they begin to rise. Because rising comes with power, and power comes with temptation. This is the final test. You've survived the shadows. You've endured the storms. You've faced rejection, abandonment, and spiritual isolation. And now, at last, the gates begin to open. Doors that once slammed in your face are now inviting you in. People who ignored you now want to be near you. The very world that tried to break you suddenly wants to reward you. But here's the truth. Not every blessing is from the light. Some are traps. Some are disguised distractions meant to pull you off your path. And this is where many chosen ones fall, not in defeat, but in success. You see, when you were suffering, you were pure. You had nothing to lose but your soul, so you clung to it tightly. But now that you're rising, now that your gifts are turned on, now that people look up to you, now that your voice carries weight, you're facing a different kind of warfare. The ego wants to hijack the mission. The world wants to tame your fire. You'll be tempted to soften your truth to be accepted, to package your wisdom to sell more, to water down your power so others feel comfortable. But make no mistake, the moment you betray your essence for approval, you start to lose the very thing that made you chosen in the first place. You are Azul. This is why the most powerful chosen ones are the most rooted in humility. Not because they're weak, but because they remember who they were before the rise. They remember the nights they cried to God for strength. They remember the betrayals, the silence, the isolation. And because of that, they don't use their light to shine on others. They use it to shine through them. Power, when purified by pain, becomes purpose. But when power is distorted by ego, it becomes poison. And we've seen it too many times. Spiritual leaders who started with truth but lost their soul to the spotlight. Chosen ones who became celebrities and forgot their calling. This is why your spiritual foundation must be stronger than your platform. So how do you rise without losing your soul? You stay in devotion, not to your image, not to your audience, but to your alignment. Every day you return to silence. Every day you check your motives. You ask yourself, am I doing this to be seen or to serve? Is this action aligned with my truth or my trauma? You surround yourself with people who don't just praise you, but challenge you. People who remind you of your humanity. You stay teachable. You stay open. And above all, you surrender the outcome. Because the moment your mission becomes a means to an end, fame, money, status, you've already lost. The true chosen don't rise to be worshipped. They rise to awaken. Here's the secret that no one tells you. Your power was never the miracle. The miracle was that you never gave up. That you kept choosing truth when lies were easier. That you kept choosing love when bitterness was justified. That you kept showing up when no one saw you. That's why you're chosen. Not because you're perfect, but because you're honest. You feel deeply. You fall hard, but you rise every single time. And now, with all the wisdom you've earned, you're being called to lead. Not from a pedestal, but from presence. Not with answers, but with embodiment. The world doesn't need more gurus. It needs more real ones. Souls who have lived it, felt it, survived it, and now carry it with grace. You are never meant to fit in. You are meant to rebuild the frequency of the world. Through your voice, through your art, through your energy, through your choices. And when you stand in that truth unapologetically, humbly, soulfully, you become what demons fear most. Someone who cannot be bought, broken, or blinded. Someone who carries both the light of God and the scars of hell. Someone who has been tested by fire and came out gold. That's what it means to be chosen. You're not here to lead a trend. You're here to start a movement, a revolution of remembrance, of awakening, of truth that feels like thunder and love that feels like home. So I ask you one final question, the deepest one yet. Now that you've remembered who you are, now that you've risen from the ashes, what will you do with your power? Will you hide it? Will you sell it? Will you dilute it for comfort? Or will you protect it, honor it, and use it to change everything you touch? Because the world is watching, God is waiting, and the darkness already knows your name. You've been chosen. The time to rise is now.